Before we start the video, I want to say a few things. As Mr. Kevin Samuels will say in the video, this is not a black community thing. It is a problem with the women in the West, such as in the United States, Europe, Canada, Australia, and South Africa. I always said that the way these women talk and treat their men, they are not showing masculine energy because men do not talk or treat other men this way. These women do not talk and treat their female friends this way. We need to call it for what it is. It is abuse. The definition of abuse is the following. Abuse is the improper usage or treatment of a thing, often unfairly or improperly to gain benefit. Abuse can come in many forms, such as physical or verbal maltreatment, injury, assault, unjust practices, or other types of aggression. Years ago, when my aunt was in her early 70s and my brother was in his 50s, they got into a fight. It was such a big fight that the police were called. My brother threatened my aunt with physical violence. I had to explain to my 70-year-old aunt that you do not talk to any man the way she talked to my brother. So all of my aunt's life, she believed it was okay or acceptable to talk to men that way. Plus I also had to explain why it is not acceptable to talk to men that way. I also explained that it is not acceptable for a man to hit a woman. However, many men will understand that if a woman talks to a man this way and he hits her, many men will understand why the man hit her. There were many things my 70-year-old aunt did not understand about men that I had to explain to her. So my aunt is in her 70s. If a 70-year-old woman did not know or understand these things, then there are many women that do not know or understand many things about men. As Mr. Kevin Samuels will say in the video, there are certain lines one does not cross. Even the woman in the video says that she knows that there are certain lines she does not cross with her female friends. Some women always think or believe that the man will never leave. In my personal life, Maria believed that I would never leave. My ex-girlfriend named Eva also believed that I was never going to leave, and Eva believed that one day she could always get me back when she wanted me. As Mr. Kevin Samuels will say in the video, everyone has their breaking point. I always left. I made one big mistake. After I left, after 3 months, Eva kept calling me for 2 more months. I made the mistake of calling her back in the 5th month. So our breakup lasted for 2 years. Women make the mistake of thinking or believing that a nice guy will never leave. What they do not understand is that once a nice guy reaches his breaking point, he leaves, he is completely done, and he is not coming back because it should never have reached that point. Too much pain, too much anger and too much resentment.
Entitlement. Guys, we run afoul an error when we just try to keep saving women and keep trying to make them happy all the time. There need to be standards and boundaries. And if she can't deal with your boundaries and can't live up to your standards, you need to take your presence away from her. You have to raise your value to where you don't subject yourself to such treatment. Because if you allow it, it's going to continue. I've been there. I'm not telling you something I have not done. I won't do it again. You say black women. Okay, we can say that to a certain degree, but it's really a problem with women in the West. So what's the hold up on marriage?
He says my attitude and the way that I speak, I would say, towards men, which I agree. I feel like seeing my mother, kind of the way she talks to my father, even now they're not together and it's been 20 years, I do see a lot of resemblance in the respect factor.
So you disrespect your child's father?
In arguments, yes. And out of anger. Not necessarily to disrespect him, like,
okay, so
as a man.
Well, yeah. So yeah, how you fight says a lot.
Yes.
So he's been with you for 8 years, and you have a child. If he was taken away from you tomorrow in a car accident, you think you could operate like that with another man and him marry you?
No.
Okay. So if you got a man that's with you, either you act like you need to act or you run the risk of losing him. You want to know what I think or what he thinks?
No, what you think. Like what
well, okay, ma'am, you listen to your man.
Right, of
Do
course.
we? Okay, because I'm not going to overstep my boundaries. That is your child's father, and he's been with you 8 years. He told you what he wants. Here's
Right,
what you do. Here's what you do. You do it.
right,
You don't need me to come. You don't need me, Jesus, the pastor, to tell you something else when you got a man who's there by you.
right.
That's disrespectful by itself. Why don't you just give the man what he wants?
Even if I feel as though I am, would that not suffice in
If I
terms of
asked
security?
him, are you giving him what he wants? What would he say?
I would hope yes.
Okay, if you're saying the hold up on marriage is the way you act towards him disrespectfully, right?
Yes.
Then you're not giving him what he wants.
Right.
See, what it comes down to is this rebellious spirit in you females.
Right.
You want to give him what you think he deserves. And if he would up and leave you, then you'd be on my show talk about how your baby daddy left. The man told you what he wants. Either you give it to him or you leave him alone and let him go get a woman that's going to give him what he wants. If you lose him, you think you're going to do better?
Definitely not.
Then why don't you act like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I do.
There's no want to, man. There's no reason to not respectfully cooperate. When these
Okay.
arguments start, see, you fight dirty. And what I'm hearing is you talk to your man like a woman.
No.
Oh yeah, you do. Because if you talk to him like you should talk to a man, you should know from a safety standpoint that you need to keep your mouth closed. See, when two men are talking, there's a low level threat of violence. If I'm sitting here talking to a man, I know their lines. I
Right.
can't cross certain lines with any man. I don't care how big or small he is. After a certain line, we're gonna have to shoot the fair one. But
Right.
you will go damn well low because you know good and well he ain't gonna do nothing. Because if you talk the way if you argued with him, if you argue with a woman the way you argue with him, would you and that woman end up in a conflict?
Possibly. I feel like it depends. Like it's not necessarily like always like a threat or aggressive. It's just maybe the way I say certain things or pertaining to certain situations. Like it may not be in his perspective, and
No, ma'am. We're not talking about those. We're not talking about the innocent thing. We're talking about when you know you're saying something low and dirty just to hurt him.
right, right,
Okay, then you're doing it to hurt.
right,
All right. So you're hurt. Intentionally inflicting damage on your man.
mm-hmm.
And if he were to turn around and physically inflict damage on him, the society would blame him and say he shouldn't do it. But you could be verbally violent with your child's father.
Right. Which I agree. I don't want to be that way. I don't think that I
Ma'am,
didn't.
here's the thing. I think you take your man for granted. I think that if you've been with him so long, you ain't been out here. I'm not really an advocate for families breaking up, but I bet you if he left you and got him another woman and you had to figure it out for this year, I bet you found a way to control your mouth and get under control. You know what this man wants. You know what he wants.
Yes.
Then give it to him or risk losing him. Women test for strength, and so many men are trying to be the nice guy, and we're getting bitched.
Well, I
So,
definitely don't want to bitch him. That's not what I.
because at the end of the day, you're moving and acting in life as if this man ain't gonna leave. Everybody got a breaking point.
I agree.
Thank you for watching. Please click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video.